Things take an unexpected turn when Ojin is locked in a grapple by the monster. While our guy struggles to move, he somehow pulls out his gun and shoots that piece of shit. Taking the shot, the monster goes berserk and abruptly loses hold of Ojin, making him crash to the ground. With not enough firepower, our guy witnesses the monster running wild after being hit by spear lightning and surmises that he has no way of taking down that giant monster, adding that he needs a single blow that's stronger than spear lightning. Well, it looks like our guy has something in mind as he shoots the spear gun at the moment, and it successfully gets stuck. As soon as the monster moves, our guy is pulled with a great force and thinks of using this power in reverse. With the nape of its neck exposed, Ojin takes the perfect chance and plans to strike an all-powerful blow. Along with pumping magic power, he needs to hold it, stretch the mana, and end this all in one blow. He then leaps towards with his spear charged with immense lightning power and pierces through the monster. Striking the monster with one powerful blow, Ojin wonders if it worked. However, the monster gets wild again as it begins to quiver like crazy, and with the spear still stabbed in, our guy gets whirled up like crazy, screaming to stop this bullshit. Eventually, the station monster makes its way outside the sewer, and the people run for their lives. During all the chaos, a kid trips and falls to the ground, and just as the monster is about to crush the little boy, Ojin enters the scene and saves the boy, instructing him to get out of here quickly, thinking that he needs to protect the people at all costs, but it turns out that he is being kind just because Vega's watching, as usually he doesn't give a damn about innocent people dying or not. Well, just when we thought our main character was kind, making an impression, our boy realizes that Vega thinks of him as a hero who will change the world's destiny, so he needs to act like he cares for the victim. After that, the goddess asks him if he needs her blessings, but Ojin refuses. Peeking at the monster, our guy is certain that his attack worked. Now all he needs to do is hit it until it's completely destroyed. Even so, there's no doubt that Ojin's weaker, so it wouldn't be strange if he begged for Vega's blessing right now. But he decides not to. Feeling pumped up, he finds the situation exhilarating after the thrill he felt when the depth charge worked. He reckons that the temporary boost in power he receives through blessing disappears with time like a mirage. In fact, all the thrill and ecstasy he's feeling right now might scatter away like grains in sand. Adamant to not let this happen, Ojin plans to give a little more pain to the monster. While he starts dodging attacks, Ojin starts to see the monster's movements now, and on top of that, he can feel his magic rising rather than decreasing like back then. Thinking that it's his turn now, our guy leaps towards with his spear, loaded with lightning power, and cuts off one of its limbs, saying that it's the start. Ojin goes crazy and uses depth charge on repeat as the lighting moves in different directions at once. As the monster seems to weaken and slow down, Ojin pulls out multiple wires using his spear gun, sticking it into rocks. Bearing the weight of rocks through the wires, his magic seems to go beyond his limit, and he plans to use it one more time, charging all the depth charge attacks at the monster. Eventually, the monster is defeated, and Vega comes looking for his child, asking if he's okay. Appearing to be just fine, our guy puts on a big smile and assures her everything's okay, but the poor guy wasn't completely okay. Meanwhile, the goddess seems annoyed as Ojin promised that he'd be done in no time, but it took him so long, telling him how worried she was. Our boy smiles and lets out that he won anyway, wondering how the goddess has gotten so cute. Enough of this bullshit. As Ojin is about to think about some important things, the crowd goes wild as the people start taking pictures of him. Thinking that it'd be hard to hide his identity now, our main character is approached by a reporter who asks him which guild he belongs to. Trying to be as nice as possible, Ojin reveals that he's a member of the association while pondering that he gotta have a good image now that he's going all through this. While the people are obsessing over the awakened Quan Ojin, our guy decides to give a little sparkle of humility and tells them that he only did what he was supposed to. Suddenly, his interview is interrupted by Goddess Vega, who crashes out of nowhere and tells the people that Ojin is their hero and savior, calling him her child. As Ojin gives her a bombastic side-eye, the goddess asks them if their gratitude is simple lip service, instructing everybody to bring money for her child. Our guy, who's embarrassed as hell while Vega continues to collect the money from the people, saying that she prepared all the money for him, and this makes our poor guy go fucking crazy. The next scene takes us to the association, where Han informs Ojin that the internet is filled with buzz about him, revealing that they have heard from 16 guilds, and around those 8 guilds have sent donations to the association. While our boy is astonished to hear this happened all in one day, the team leader further tells him that the news about him being Polaris' apostle has spread all over. He apologizes to Ojin as they tried their best to keep it a secret, and our guy seems to be chill about it, assuring him that it's okay. Ojin reckons that this incident was merely a makeshift measure to buy time anyway until he could gain enough power, thinking now's the time to cash in on his title as Polaris' apostle. After that, Han tells him that he saw in the article that Ojin asked for money from the people he rescued, while our guy is mortified to even listen to this. Cringing with embarrassment, he presumes that those people must be cursing him for being a ripoff, all thanks to Vega, and this is why he didn't look up the news himself. However, it appears that the team leader finds it truly divine that he asked for money from people, while Ojin wonders what kind of bullshit this is. Calling him a tsundere, Han lets out that he has become popular in that direction and shows him the newspaper, uttering that what he said while rescuing the child became a hot topic. Han continues to repeat the words he said to the child, saying that he's not exactly doing this to rescue him while saving him, and even giving his coat to the child who had fallen. Hearing this bullshit, our guy recalls that he didn't even say anything like that, and the fact that he was even wearing a coat. The news even says that he turned around and told the child to hurry and run away in a small voice. This makes Ojin pissed and thinks it's not a new but a damn novel. It looks like Han seems to be enjoying this, saying that these lines he said are proving that he meant to say that he's only saving for the sake of money. Well, finally the time has come that Ojin got scammed, and being the victim himself is kind of flustering, given that he was always the one scamming others. Just then, the team leader finally says something worthwhile and confesses that this incident recently caused a stir in paradise as well. As Han reveals this, Ojin hears the word paradise, and it occurs that it's his real reason to come here. Taking care of something first, he shows Han the myrrh crystals he got from killing the giant and the reptilians, asking him how much they will be worth. Analyzing the crystals, the team leader reveals that the value of myrrh crystals from mutated species has fallen recently. He continues to elucidate that there has been an increase in mutants, making the amount of myrrh crystals increase, adding that apparently, the number of mutants has increased by tenfold. This makes Ojin wonder if this is also related to the Dark Star's constellation. Nonetheless, looking at the two big crystals that are high in quality, Han assures him that he'll fetch at least 400 million for this. Recalling that these two myrrh crystals were from the giant and the slime giant, Ojin adamantly informs him that he needs to sell them as soon as possible. But the team leader lets out that it will be hard to sell this quickly, as myrrh crystals from mutants are especially hard to sell because their value fluctuates so much. That's when our guy suggests he pay him 300 million up front and take the rest. Listening to this, Han is left shocked, as our fella had agreed to give 100 million. It's kinda hard to believe, as Ojin isn't generous, rather, he's a guy who's obsessed with money. Just then, the team leader agrees and lets out that he'll send 300 million. As Ojin is about to leave, Han stops him and says there's something he needs to give him. An item he mentioned last time, assuring that he prepared the best kind available. Han hands him the item that is inside the box, and along with that, he gives a certificate for the association's special commissions. Utterly surprised to receive the certification, our guy is astonished because from what he knows, these are for the association's special agents, and even get investigation rights. Staring at the card with his eyes wide open, Ojin is taken aback, as it hasn't been long since he began working for the association, and Han expresses that the card means that the executives value him that much. Nonetheless, our guy leaves the association and reckons that he already has 700 million won, along with the 300 million won he'll receive soon, anticipating that he needs just one more step to get to paradise. The next scene takes us to Song Hyun, who's been listening to the news about Ojin, the association-affiliated awakened, getting a lot of praise and attention after the Seoul Station incident, getting the new hero nickname, Lighting Wolf. The next news changes to the list of items being auctioned at the Yongsan auction, which have the 6-star relic Dragon Demon Eyes, will be only displayed. As Song is busy thinking about the Dragon Demon's eyes, suddenly, she is interrupted by Goddess Vega asking if she's finally awake. Song freaks out as she thought Vega left with Ojin, but it seems like the guy left his necklace behind. Curious, Song tells the goddess that she keeps breaking rules by being on Earth for this long, but Vega assures her that a few hours a day is fine. After that, Vega seems to have something to ask her and shows her worry about her child Ojin being obsessed with money, asking her the reason. That's when Haeun reveals that it's because he wants to go to paradise. It is revealed to us that paradise, with the official name Ganghwa Island Special Controlled Region, where there are no gates and no monsters, is the only place that still looks like Korea before all the chaos. She further lets out that Ojin is saving up to buy a residence permit there, and the price for that is 1 billion won. Song tells her that if they get in there, they will be happy afterward. Curious, the goddess asks if there's such a place, and Haeun elucidates that it's managed by the only Korean member of the Great Dipper, Ursa Major, Cheon Sangul, and his guild, Heaven's Favor. While it seems like the safest place on Earth, Vega gets to know that he's actually saving money for that. Just then, Haeun tells her about Ojin's dream since he was a kid. His dream was to live in a place where he wouldn't be hurt, starve, or be cold. While it looks like a pretty simple dream, to them that happiness felt like miles away. She reminisces on the time when they were young and used to get beaten up by the orphanage's director every day. but Ojin took the brunt of the beating most of the time, as the director's main target used to be Song Hyeon. One day while Haeon is getting beaten up, Ojin rushes to the director and creates chaos, saying that there's a fire in the kitchen, but it turns out that it was a lie, and after that, the director was embarrassed and both of them were beaten up like hell. After listening to the story, Vega feels bad about Ojin, and Song concludes that the only thing he ever wanted since he was a kid was a life where he doesn't need to lie. Song is certain that our guy will go to paradise, but deep down she thinks that he'll be separated from her. At that moment, Vega questions her if she's not going to go to paradise along with Ojin and assumes that it's because of the money. That's when Han reveals that it's not about the money. She wouldn't be able to pass the test even if she had money. Well, we get to know that in order to get into paradise, they need to pass a test as well as go through various checks. Being certain, the girl knows that a cripple like her won't be allowed to enter paradise. The goddess seems worried about her and asks what will happen to her after Ojin leaves, to which Song affirms that she will figure things out on her own, adding that she was a 7-star awakened just 5 years ago, so she'll make it through life somehow. Looking at her amputated leg, Vega questions what exactly happened to her, and that's when she opens up about her tragedy. It is revealed that it was 5 or 6 years ago when Song Han was fighting the 1,000-cursed dragon Barbato, a 9-star monster, when she ended up like this. To be more exact, she was cursed, and thanks to that even her mana was sealed. It turns out that Song made a promise with Ojin 5 years ago, which was more like a one-sided demand. In her flashback, she asks Ojin if he's going to buy the rights to live in paradise, and pleads with him to live with her until then. She convinces him to stay by speaking of her favors, saying that he's indebted to her for the last 3 years as she saved him and looked after him. She clarifies that once he has the money, he can go wherever he wants, and that's how Ojin agrees to it. Admitting that she was a real bitch, Song is astonished and wonders how the guy who's not even awakened earns $1 billion. In reality, it was just an excuse, as Haeon didn't want to be left alone, so she trapped him with her. She mutters that she didn't expect Ojin to become an awakened Polaris disciple at that, and now that's famous and all over the news. She gets certain that it won't take him long to earn $1 billion. Laughing it off, the girl thinks that she's being punished and pulls out of the box, putting on her robotic leg. She then asks Vega to take care of Ojin and heads out of the house for some work, walking with her robotic leg and a stick. Song tries to convince herself that it's a piece of cake, and it's a good thing an awakened person gets better senses, but the poor girl manages to pull through as she bumps her head into a tree branch. Later, she arrives at the bank and requests to terminate all her accounts, asking how much she has in her account. The clerk, considering all of the interest from the past 5 years, informs that she has 3 million won. Disappointed, Song seems to know that she had that much money, but still it's way too little to buy Dragon Demon Eyes. It is then revealed to us that when a gate first appeared 8 years ago, Haeon fought for her survival and not money. Then, 2 years ago after the first gate, when she sold myrrh crystals for a proper amount of money, most of the money she earned went to her medical bills after she fought the dragon and got cursed. Snapping out of it, the girl reckons that the only thread of hope she had was the 3 million won she worked so hard for, but even that thread of hope is gone. Just then, she senses the bastard Ojin, who still goes around eating calorie bars, and a smile lights up her face as our guy approaches her and scolds her for going without saying a word. While our guy looks pretty serious, Song bursts into laughter, asking if he was looking for her. As Ojin is about to scold her even more, the girl happily mutters that he came at the perfect time and tells him that they gotta go somewhere. Well, it looks like Song takes Ojin shopping and buys him some outfits, while our boy freaks out and makes a fuss about buying clothes at a department store, as it will be super expensive. But Song pretends that she can't hear him while Ojin asks her what has gotten into her. Blushing, the girl confesses that it's a date. After shopping, our guy asks her what's gotten into her, and Song asserts that she feels bad that he's always going around looking homeless while eating calorie bars. While Ojin jokes around saying how she even knows that he's depressed as she can't even see, Haeon opens up that she cancelled her savings account and got a bunch of interest for it, so she's just treating him. Worried, our guy asks her why she is really doing this, and Song, looking gloomy, responds that Ojin has been through a lot because of her, and asks him to do as she says for today. Laughing it off, our guy warns her not to regret it later on. Just then, Song decides to treat him with Korean beef since she has a lot of money, and our guy jumps in excitement, drooling at the thought of beef. Just as they arrive at the beef restaurant, Song is also super excited to try it. But then she asks Ojin about the place next door, and he tells her that it's a crab place. Suddenly the girl changes her mind and lets out that she's not in the mood for a barbecue today and feels like having crabs. Well, it looks like she wants to treat Ojin with something more expensive, as our guy seems to know that she hates all kinds of seafood. Eating at the crab place, Haeon complains about crabs being so hard to eat, and Ojin taunts her, saying that she can just ask him. After that, our guy takes the flesh out of the crabs for her and feeds her himself. While it really looks like a date, Ojin ponders that she seemed a bit depressed earlier, but he's glad that she's lightened up. After eating, Ojin heads out to buy coffee and encounters some girl fans, obsessing over the lighting wolf, complimenting that he looks better in real life. The girls ask for a picture together, but Ojin isn't much pleased to see them and thinks of getting rid of them. With his deadpan face with not even a flicker of a smile, our guy straight up refuses, saying that he feels really uncomfortable seeing them act this way when he doesn't even know them, asking them to stop annoying him and screw off. Assuming that the girls would cry any minute now, to his surprise, the girls are thrilled to hear such nice words from him and ask him to sign it on her shirt. Flabbergasted, Ojin wonders if she's out of her mind and decides to sign her shirt as it won't cost him any money. At that moment, Song Haeun storms out of the shop and angrily asks the girls what's the matter, calling them bitches. As the fans ask who she is, Song calls them fucking shitheads and confesses that she's Ojin's girlfriend, wrapping her hands around his face. Coming back stronger, Haeun really scares the shit out of those fans as they dash away, calling her weird. Smirking, Song comes to his rescue and asks Ojin what he would do if it wasn't for her, and advises him not to talk to strangers just because they like you. But our guy clarifies that he's not interested in dating anyway, and Song seems kinda disappointed, asking him why. Well, it turns out that our guy isn't interested because it takes money that he cherishes so much. Just then, Song suggests going to karaoke as other people won't bother them there. At the karaoke, Ojin warmly smiles at her as she sings. Later, after the karaoke, it appears to be dark and decides to head home. Walking under the beam of streetlights, Song tightly grabs Ojin's hand and asks him how much he has saved up. While our boy reveals that he has it all, the girl freaks out and confirms if he has the entire 10 billion, guessing that he won't be with her for much longer. Looking downhearted, she asks if he's really gonna go to paradise, and Ojin tells her that he's been saving up for this entire time. Suddenly, Song breaks down into tears and Loki wants him to stay. Hiding her tears, she puts a smile on her face and tells Ojin not to forget about her. That's when our guy stops and asks why he would forget about her. The next day, Song heads out of the house, saying that she needs to stop by the bank. On the contrary, the Yongsang auction has more attention than usual. It is revealed to us that the Dragon Demon Eyes is an extremely rare holy relic that is a type of monster above 6 star drops, and it possesses the power to undo curses. While it turns out that Haeun is going for the auction, she is certain that the Dragon Demon's Eyes can undo her dragon curse. She loses hope, thinking that she can't buy that with only 3 million won. However, she takes the leap of faith and anticipates that there aren't many competitors. There have been times when 6-star relics have been sold cheaper than normal, which leads Song to think that curses aren't so common these days, and maybe there isn't anyone who needs those items. Convincing herself, she decides to take the chance as she has nothing to lose, and ponders that if she undo the curse, she might be able to go to paradise with Ojin. Determined, the girl thinks of surviving this and leaves the rest on her luck, believing that miracles do happen. The next scene takes us to the Yongsang auction, where the guy helps Song fill out the form to participate in the auction. Just then, the admitting entrance begins. Meanwhile, Haeun struggles to find a seat and asks a guy for help. Looking at the blind girl, the people start gossiping about Song, wondering if doesn't have anyone with her. Blabbering who would want to support a cripple these days. Hearing such bullshit, Song nearly loses her cool, but she calms down for the sake of getting the Dragon Demon's Eyes. After that, the December Yongsang auction begins, and the first item is the ash-tinted incense burner, called the best of the 4-star holy relics, with an auction price of 10 million, and to buy immediately, it will cost 1 billion. Shortly, the people start auctioning, and eventually the relic is sold at the price of 670 million. Witnessing this, Song begins to panic as she presumes that the price of the 4-star relic is double the amount she has. Shaking it off, she believes that the burner was a popular item, but a Dragon Demon Eye isn't as versatile, certain that fewer people will want it. In the meantime, many other items are auctioned, and moments later, the most awaited items are presented. A holy relic that has the ability to undo any curse. A 6-star holy relic, the Dragon Demon Eyes. While the guy explains that the Dragon Eye will seep into the one who uses it, and will permanently have the ability to undo curses, Haeun freaks out as she looks at the item, and assures herself that no one's cheering for the item, assuming the competition won't be so bad. Nervous, she thinks that she might be able to buy it if no one needs to undo their curse. With that, the auction for the eyes begins with a price starting from 100 million and 100 billion for immediate purchase. That's when Song raises her hand and auctions it for 100 million. However, this doesn't seem to go well as the people start making fun of her, thinking that she just called the starting price. Calling her a newbie, the people mock her, saying that she might be broke and thought it was her chance to go rich. As the guy asks if someone wants to go higher, Song pleads no one else raises the price higher, but her hope is shattered when people raise the price to billions, and Han realizes that she never stood a chance. At that moment, She breaks down as tears stream down her face, pondering why life is so unfair. First abandoned by parents she didn't even know and lived a shitty life. Remembering her traumatizing moments, she wishes for a miracle to happen just for once, as she just wants to be with Ojin, questioning if it is too much to ask. Just then, a guy sitting beside her asks Haeun if she's here for the Dragon Demon's Eyes. The guy introduces himself as Choi Jongchul from Starlight Guild, and offers her to lend at least 6 billion for the Dragon Eye. Putting his hand on her lap, he wants to stay friends with her for more than 5 years. As Song could certainly smell his ill intentions and knew exactly what he meant, she felt utterly disgusted. While she is shocked to her core, the guy waits for her answer. Even though she is displeased with the thought, Song tries to think as if she can buy the eyes with that 6 billion he's offering. Desperate and helpless with the situation, she is about to agree. In the meantime, someone enters the auction. The guy turns out to be our Ojin, who is stopped by the guards, but then he pulls out his association card, showing that he's a special commissioner. That's when the people divert their attention towards Ojin and recognize that he's the same guy from the Seoul Station incident. Unexpectedly, Haeun hears the sounds of his footsteps, knowing who he is. On the other hand, Ojin walks towards the stage with 2 big briefcases and auctions of 10 billion for the item, making an iconic entry. He kicks the briefcases and the money floats in the air, offering all the 10 billion in cash. After tossing the 10 billion won, Ojin wins the auction at the immediate purchasing price, and immediately takes the Demon's Eye. Flabbergasted, Song is left in disbelief as she wonders what he's doing here. And at that moment, our guy approaches her and witnesses that bastard Choi Jongchul's hand on Song's lap. While the guy makes a fuss about Ojin barging into the auction, our guy, giving him a death glare, commands him to remove his hand. Fighting mad, Choi comes at him and asks who's he to order him around, and Ojin tells him that he's a special commission, taking him as an association dog who dares to challenge the Starlight Guild. Choi halts for a second and ruminates if there is someone like him, a special commissioner. He gets reminded that he saw Ojin in an article, and at that moment, he knew he fucked up. Panicked, Choi gets humbled real quick and politely asks him if he's the Lightning Wolf, the disciple of Polaris. Our guy lets out that people seem to call him by that title and confirms with the guy if he was from the Starlight Guild. That's when fear gushes through Choi, as he calls it a misunderstanding, and Ojin places his hand on his shoulder, threatening him to clear it out with the guildmaster. Frightened to death, Choi kneels to the ground and begs him not to say anything to his guildmaster, justifying that he didn't know that Ojin was with the girl. Our guy decides to spare him, and while the bastard thanks him, saying that he'll do whatever he wants, Ojin tells him to fuck off and never let himself be seen by him again. After the guy escapes his death, our guy holds Song's hand and leaves while the crowd bombards him with questions. Later, they arrive at an open place and Song immediately questions about his paradise residence eyes, and why would he buy the dragon eyes. Without saying a word, Ojin holds her face and takes out the dragon demon's eyes. Affirming that it'll be over soon, he seeps the dragon's eye into Haeun's eye. And while she's in pain, our boy comforts her with a hug. After a while, Song's vision gets a bit clearer, and the first thing she looks at is the view of her paradise, Ojin. She then gazes at the sky full of stars and starts sobbing. Just then, Ojin gives her another thing and changes something in her robotic foot. While he asks her if it's better than what she was using before, Song breaks down into tears of joy and asks why he bought something so pointless, saying that it was precious money he worked hard for. The girl reminds Ojin of his dream about how he was going to buy the rights to live in paradise and wanted a comfortable life, saying that he only promised to live with her until he had enough money. As their eyes meet, Haeun gets a flashback of their childhood in the orphanage where Ojin shouts that there's a fire, and she tells him to get away from the fire. But our guy smiles at her and says that it was a lie. It seems like she was getting a deja vu as Ojin again smiles brightly and tells her that it was a lie. Thrilled to use her stigma now, Song seems as happy as ever as she starts a fire in a pan while our guy freaks out and is done with her, immediately telling her to turn off the heat. It turns out that Song burns all the food as she uses her stigma since the stove fire is a bit weak and Ojin is fed up. Presuming that she has just started her physical therapy, there's no way she can properly control her stigma already. Worried, he asks if she's okay, and Haeun lets out that it's a bit bright since her right eye can see a lot better. Hearing this, Ojin gets a bit concerned and hopes that it's not a side effect of the dragon eye. Just then, Vega comes in and assures them that it's nothing to worry about, saying that it's more of a blessing rather than a side effect. Asking what it means, the goddess explains that in the process of purifying the curse, her stigma and the dragon's power interacted, resulting in that. Haeun is not used to controlling the dragon eye yet since the curse was purified only recently. But once her stigma is back to its original state, she'll use the dragon eye power properly. Getting to know all this, Haeun ponders Draco's stigma isn't one of the 12 astrological signs, but it's still powerful enough to not fall behind them, and even she wouldn't have known how strong Draco's stigma was if it weren't for Vega. Yanking out of her thoughts, Song is determined to focus on her physical therapy for now, as she needs to recover as fast as possible so she can support Oh-jin, saying that she hates being indebted to people, but our guy doesn't seem happy about this, and Song will be cooking food from now on. Nonetheless, Oh-jin is glad that he bought the dragon eye for her and that it didn't have any side effects. Shortly, he gets lost in thought and tries to remember why he wasn't able to save her before his regression. He wonders if this was the reason he ended the world, but he doesn't seem to remember anything as the real regressor was Lee Shin-yuk. He can hardly believe that he's the one who ended the world, questioning how he would know the reason. Just then, his moment of contemplation is interrupted by Vega, who asks him about his goals after Howin's curse has been undone. With few ideas in mind, he asks for the goddess's help, and she agrees to help him with whatever he needs as long as it's within her capabilities. Moments later, he calls the team leader Han, and informs that he won't be contactable for a while, revealing that he intends to focus on training himself for about 3 months. But Han isn't quite pleased to hear this, and lets out that there are hundreds of clients wanting to see Oh-jin. Hearing this, an internal monologue plays in his head, asserting that he's disappearing to exactly avoid that, and it's obvious that everyone's just thinking of ways to work him like a dog. He becomes adamant about becoming stronger so that he can defend himself from people who are going to try and use him. After that, Han tells him that it will be wise to take care of himself for now, and questions where he plans on training as it'll be hard to avoid attention wherever he goes. Well, it turns out that our genius fella finds himself the perfect hidden spot for training, the sanctum, where goddess Vega resides. Vega begins the training and asks which skill he would like to learn first.